Return to route, said the GPS. She sounded pissed. But I said you told us to turn right, and we're supposed to turn left. This was the beginning of what was supposed to be my birthday treat. I was in the car, my car, with my grandson Kieran, who was driving, and he said, "Hey, would you like to celebrate your 86th birthday hiking with me in Muir Woods National Monument?" And I said, "Oh, yes. It's a big deal. You have to make a reservation, and it costs a pretty penny," but I was delighted to do it. And we were prepared. He had figured out the route, and he said, "Let's leave an extra 15 minutes early. Let's make it easy. Let's make it joyful." And there we were bowling along the freeway when all of a sudden we had to stop. And it was stop and start and stop and stop and start. There was a crash up there. Not us, thank God. But there was something, we were supposed to be there at 11:30. We had a lot of time because we had left early, and there was a half-hour grace period. But we started to get nervous, understandably. And all I could do was give him the view from almost 86. I said, "Look here, and there's nothing we can do. We cannot control the traffic. We can only control ourselves. And, either they'll let us in or they won't. And if they won't, there'll be other places to walk. So let's try to relax. It's not easy, but we listened to the book on tape, and finally we got spat out of the jam, and then we got to the Richmond Bridge, and it was stop and start because there was another crash on the bridge. Can you believe it? Now, it was 11:30. We were supposed to be there at 11:30, but there was a half-hour grace period. When we got off the bridge, that's when we heard return to route. And the GPS had a wild hair, sending us this way and that way and this way, which was not the way to go. And then Kieran got freaked, and he took some interesting detours through some bucolic neighborhoods that were not exactly in the right direction. But finally, we were on the flanks of Mount Tamalpais to go down to our destination. But but the grace period was over. It was 10 after 12. What would happen? I had prepared a sob story. "I'm in my 86th birthday treat, and we left even 15 minutes early, and there was crashes on the bridge." And you know what the guy did? He just waved us in. No sob story needed. And we parked and we got out kind of rubber-legged and greatly relieved. And you know what I did then? I left my purse and my phone in the glove compartment. I didn't need it anymore. We had showed who we were. We had been let in. But then when we got to the entrance to Muir Woods National Monument, we needed to show it again. And so we had to go back to the second parking lot, only 10 minutes. And that's when I saw the placard that said, "This is a smash and grab area. Don't leave anything of value in your car." I think the universe was giving me a kick in the pants. So I got my valuables out, and there we were in the monument itself. And it's like being in an outdoor cathedral. You look up, 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 up. You cannot even see the overstory. And underfoot is a boardwalk because all those feet, because a lot of people come from all over the world, they could compact that ground that those deep roots have to go into. And as we walked along, the plants were right at kind of eye level or hand level. You didn't even have to crouch. And my grandson, Kieran, is a kind of a botanical nerd, and he recognized some old friends. He said, "Oh, there's fetid adder's root. Oh, there's false Solomon's seal. Oh, there's California mandrake. There's redwood violets that is yellow, go figure." But the thing about being in that monument with all those people on a trail is that somehow they spread out, and we would have 20 minutes to kind of take in the delicious silence that was not, of course, silent because there was a little bird song, there was a little ruffle of the creek, There was the sound of light wind that made walking really beautiful. And we couldn't exactly embrace the trees the way we used to like 20 years ago, but there were these kind of caves in the trees themselves where they had been burned out, and people would just duck into the trees. They wanted to be surrounded by redwoods. They were so happy. And so we did our hour-and-a-half loop, and it was just perfect. It felt so good to be in that place at that time. Old redwoods, old me, my grandson, we made it. Back in the car, the GPS was no problem. At my daughter's house, I had my second piece of birthday cake. I got in the car, I went back to Marin, but I was so replete with joy. And it was fine. The whole thing was fine. What a great gift it was. But you know what the best part of it was? I got this story. Thank you.